Dave here. How are you? Today is the 25th, I think. No, 27th. I'm behind the times. 27th of May, 2020. Our midweek chat. I hope everyone's well. This is a period where we just have a bit of a chat. I do a little bit of woodworking. We're going to muck around with this dovetail joint that I created on the GIFKINS jig. I'm going to sand it with the belt sand over here, and also upload is good, excellent. And I'm going to play around with it a little bit, just regarding instead of being a sharp corner, I'm going to look at possibly putting a radius on it and also putting a 45 on it. I think it's really nice to see cross sections rather than just a harsh corner. You know, what's your thoughts? So you up for playing around with things like that instead of just going down the track that everyone said you should do? Now, there was some questions earlier. Gary Podger was putting up some posts on the Facebook page. And if you want to join the live stream page, there should be a link in the description box down the bottom. So what happens is he's got his router in a router lift, like I'm going to be using today. I don't know what type of router he's got. But anyway, what's happening is with his downdraft, he's pulling dust past and actually through the router. And he's finding the router is being spasmodic in its speeds because it has all of this dust going into the motor. Now, whether that dust is getting caught between the brushes or it's, you know, it's jamming things up, I don't know. My old Makita, which is this fellow here, has a deflection plate that's inside. You'll probably be able to see that pretty easy. There still are areas where dust can get down into the motor because the motor's got to breathe. It has to pull air through. Normally it pulls air from the base plate area and expels it out the top. If it was going the other way and it was put in a router table, it would be pushing up. The fan in the motor of the router itself would be pushing up towards where the cutter is, and then you'll have air pulling back down. So they're kind of counterproductive. On the Triton has got an interesting setup. It has a dust port right on the side, which is what a lot of them do these days. It's got a large kind of Perspex or hard clear plastic cover plate that's sound and sight are very good. Excellent. Thanks, Russell. So it's got this this cover plate that's clear that the collet and the chuck of the router come up through and back down again. And there's a dust port on the side. Now, as I say, that's what a lot of them have these days. But in addition to that, the Triton has got two cover plates on the side. Now, they're also to give you a bit of protection, I guess, for chips flying out, for large bits. But also, directly under those two cover plates on the side are the inlets, the vents, for the motor to pull the air through and expel it down the bottom. So what happens there is because the plates aren't a continual ring right around it, there's an opening either side, and there are no inlets to the motor, vents at those points, and that's the air flows out over those. Interesting thing. Have you got any thoughts on router tables, lifts, and downdraft, dust extraction? You know, it's a curly one. I don't know if there's an exact answer for it, unless, of course, you're using a water-cooled spindle, and then there are no holes, nothing open, like some of the CNC machines have got water-cooled spindles, so there's nothing goes into the motor. Let me have a bit of a read down the side here. Stephen, hello. Wayne, upload is good. Fred Peterson, hi Dave, g'day Fred. Ian, Les, bloody cold in Taranaki, New Zealand, and although the sun is shining, wind is coming straight off the mountain, and you've learnt to procrastinate since you've retired, have you? Have you? Let me see. Derek, g'day everyone. Govinda, hello everyone. Chris, notifications are appreciated. Pop-up message to view. Would be greetings from Portugal. Bill Rudd, good morning from the UK. What time is it in the UK? Is it around 10 o'clock? 10 at night? 10 p.m.? Not sure. See, we're Greenwich Mean Time plus 10. So maybe 9 o'clock at night. No, so maybe 11. Maybe 11. You tell me. Go and have a quick drink. So, this is my dovetail joint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the faces to start. 12:05, 11 p.m. Russell, 12:05 for you. Glenn, g'day, Bear Park, 12:05 in the UK. All right, so it's almost time to get up. No, it's not. All right, so what I want to do is I want to throw another camera on, and I think the stream should be nice and clean today. Focusing issues should have all gone. It's, I don't know. I'm going to go to the other camera, which is this one here. So I'm in the corner, as you can see, up there. And we'll go over here. I'll grab my eye muffs. Now, some people were saying, you can hear me as I'm walking away and all over the place, which is good again. I'm so glad I ran that other cable. For those that are interested, I had a Cat 5 cable coming. I've got a switch box up in the office. So I have an internet line comes from another building, a Cat 5 from underground up to that switch box, and that distributes out to this building. So I had a Cat 5 cable I ran from that switch box all the way down to a wireless point. So that was also a kind of a router box. Like there's 4 connection points in there that I can piggyback into that and send signal off again. For those that aren't aware, Cat 5 needs to be powered every 80 meters. It won't run more than 80 meters without a boost. So that's why you put these little switch boxes or a wireless point, so it acts as a port as well. And then it pushes the power on pushes the signal even further. So I had another Cat 5 cable plugged into that and coming back into here and plugged into the computer, which is just off screen that you can't see. And that was my connection with the internet. Now, I was getting download speed and my ping was fine, it was beautiful, but I think I had a dodgy cable or a dodgy connection in the wireless box. And why is that going? We shall do that. I don't know why I don't turn phones off before I start. Anyway, long story short, I got a 20 meter Cat 6 cable, and that's what I was doing this morning. I did a test with it yesterday, it worked fine, and then I run the cable this morning down through the, around the inside, all over the roof. I was up in the ceiling, and anyway, I got it done, and I'm getting beautiful upload speed. Before I was getting anywhere between 0.8 up to 4 megabits upload, and it was kind of bouncing around all over the place. With this, I'm getting a nice constant 19 megabits per second up. Now, I don't know if I need to do anything more than that. I don't know. It's I'm tempted to go on the 100 scheme just for curiosity, see if it'll punch it all the way down here or not. Because we're traveling around 300 meters on copper after the optic fiber finishes to get to where I am right here. Okay. 7 p.m. Tuesday in Pittsburgh, Stephen. Wow. All right, enough talk. I'm going to turn the dust port on for over there because I've got it all set up for the router table, of course. So that one's going to go to there, that one's there. I think everything else is shut. That one's open a little bit, which I'll just push that shut. Got it. And I think this one, I'll open this. And it should be good. Let me see if that works. Here we go. Yeah, that's working well. Good. Good, good, good. That's even better, I think. Got everything else, absolutely everything else closed off. So the first thing is I'm going to... Jeremy, how are you? It's cold. It's bloody cold, Jeremy. All right, first thing I'm going to do is just sand this up. So there's the joint. I don't know if you can see that okay. So I'm going to sand that and sand this. off all right. I'll stand into that corner a bit. My table isn't set dead square at the moment. Getting there. I'm going to turn the oscillator off. There we go. See how the belt's tracking backwards and forwards now? That's better. One more. So we got that. And we got this. We'll do this one. Just a little bit more. Come back over here. And we'll go to the other page. So it doesn't take long. I had the big long linisher, the jet, and you'd have to push things up. It's very aggressive, and the dust extraction was terrible on it. But this thing, I'm very impressed with it. The dust extraction you can see is great. So that was timber that wasn't, it's been repurposed to do what I want it to do now. And that looks really nice, but it's got that real crisp edge. So what I'm going to do now, 150 plan is pretty similar in comparison. Lately, a friend from NBN mentioned that they are throttling as well to facilitate a stable connection to homes. So hold on for making changes to your network till the COVID settles down. Oh, Govinda, here's an interesting thing. The telco that I'm with allows you to go up a plan or down a plan at any time you want with no penalty. So I think it's $20 more or something like that to go up to the 100. And then if I don't like it, it's not performing, there's no penalty for me to bring it back because I'm not in a contract. You know, I pay by month. So what do you think? Just for curiosity, I'd spend the $20 just for the curiosity to see the difference. But do you reckon the COVID thing is going to affect that? Maybe, maybe not. And look, it's working fine. I probably don't need to do it, but as I say, I'm just curious. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that camera over to the router table. Okay. Yes, what? I asked a lot of questions then, Govinda. Yes, wait, is that what you're saying? That's lovely. It's a beautiful jig. So if you want a jig that can do these really nicely, and it's just so easy, even a mug like me can do it. Jet is way too powerful and grab small stuff and throw it across the room. Exactly right. Yeah, I sold mine. I sold it. Actually, I sold it back when I got this. When I started doing some videos for Carbotech, I had an arrangement with them where I could just switch a machine out, and that's the one I chose. I'm really happy. I like it. All right. Okay. So I'm going to put this over the router table. So I'm going to move that camera behind me around there. Give me a second. We'll be coming back to this one. I haven't set up a heap of cameras because basically today's only a chat. So that's what I want you guys to do. You can chat. Enjoy yourselves. Pop that down there. And I think that's going to be a pretty good angle. I'm going to have a look when I come back over here. Because a lot of people working from home like myself who are using internet extensively. I use roughly 2 to 3 terabytes on a day. Make a box, Dave, and you can see for yourself how to do the first cuts again. So everyone's going to give me a hard time about that. It's coming. I nearly bought some timber on Monday to muck around with. But what I'm thinking about doing, Stephen, I think you're the person that did the box for the GIFKINS jig. I'm thinking about making one as well. I've got the bandsaw out because I'm thinking about ripping some timber down the guts. I was going to put the larger blade on, the 3/4 inch rip blade. And I've got some Jarrah and I've got some Purple Heart. And I was thinking maybe just do it all Jarrah around the sides and then maybe do a nice lid out of rock maple or something like that. I like the contrasts, or I've even got some red gum that'd be nice across the top. But I don't like dark with dark. I like dark with a light colour. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Maybe plywood, maybe melamine. I don't know. Yeah, so this is a bit of rosewood if anyone's interested. That's some scrap leftovers, should I say, that I had sitting in a box that I did the test with. And remember when I did this one, it was tight. And it was tight when I was putting it together, and that's possibly one of the reasons why I didn't get it dead square when I put it on the clamps on, and I thought, oh, couldn't be bothered. So I'm going to check that camera there. And that's not looking too bad, but if I go to camera 3 on its own, no, hold on, that'll work. That'll work well. I'll switch it over, and it's going to be a little bit dark, but it's okay. All right, so you can still see the everything happening on the side. I'll lift it up ever so slightly. Coming back here to check. Yeah, that should be okay. Now you can see I've got, this is a 3/8 round over, so basically it's 9.56 millimeters, I think. This is a little handy fellow. This helps me as I'm bringing timber up to approach the cutter. It's my pivot point. These are very important. I'll come down here so you can see what's going on. I have a larger opening than I normally would have. I normally would have had a smaller opening there, but it's not going to allow as much air to pull down and catch. The other day I had this off totally when I was using the jig because it's nice and large, so it moves around on it, and my table is still sitting beautifully. This is just magic. I'm very, very happy with it. Just a little bit of tweaking and I got it perfect. And this morning I was doing some tests on this bit of red gum and with the round over, and it was just so easy. When I got it, I wasn't quite there, and then I went down 2 of these markings and I went a little bit too far, and it left a lip just here. Can you hear that? And then what I did was I unlocked it, and then I raised it up 1 of these markings, unlocked it, and it's perfect. This is why I like this. There's, you know, once you've got the cutter in, which is dead easy, it's just a little bit slow winding it up and winding it down, because it's your fine adjust constantly, instead of getting underneath and just cranking it up and then do a final adjust at the end. But I think overall this is probably just the same speed, but a whole lot more convenient. I'm not under the table at all. To get that height, I'm doing tests, so I didn't even have to get down here to measure or anything, or to do sighting across, because on my test piece it was letting me know, wind it up a little bit down, yeah, perfect. And so what we're going to do now is open up the other dust port, which is here. I'll shut that one and open up the router table dust port under here. And it may or may not pull a bit of air, but we shall see. We shall see. And again with this, with my almost soundproof box, this is working brilliant. It's nice and quiet. It's just beautiful. There's 2 days left. If you want one of these and you're in Australia or New Zealand, there's 2 days left in the Rafflecopter competition that I've got in the description box below. Enter pretty soon. There's over 2,000 entries in there. I was pretty surprised. So people are really keen for them. So have a look and jump in if you want to. Everyone around the world, apart from Australia and New Zealand, it's really, I'll sort it out. You won't win. It's only Australia and New Zealand. I've got filters in place and all that kind of stuff. Here we go. Turn this on. Yep. Getting the draft down there, and I'll turn this on. You can hear how quiet it is, and slowly coming across until I'm on the bearing. Have a look. I think that looks really nice. Turn that off. That needs a sand, obviously. Little tear out at the bottom. Possibly I should have put a sacrificial piece at the back and clamped it on. So as I came past the cutter, it wouldn't do anything. But have a look at that. There is absolutely no lip at all. That's because I spent that, you know, using that offcut to get it right. That's beautiful. 10 mil. Lovely. All right, going back to the other camera. How are we doing for time? 25 past. Where are we? Back to the main camera. There we go. Okay. Going to read down the sides. See, contrasts are always good, but try with a timber that is not too brittle first. Okay, thanks for the advice. Groovjet. Hi, Dave. You okay? Coming from northeast UK. Yep. Never better. Never better, Groovjet. Monk, how sensitive is it? You did move it when you brushed across it. How sensitive is what? Is that why you were awake so early this morning? I like the look, Dave. Yeah, why not? Dave, I'm very happy with the end product of my thicknesser, same as yours, but it is throwing chips on the in-feed table. How close should the deflector be to the cutters? I'm not sure. I don't know. How close should the deflector be to the cutters? You've got the same benchtop model as I've got way over in the corner behind the easel. Oh, the height winder. Sorry, let me answer one question at a time, guys. All right. I'm not sure. Maybe you need to. What kind of dust extraction have you got running on it? And also, a lot of it will depend on how narrow the timber and how tall the timber is going through. So let me say, if I can kind of, if I had this piece of wood and I was pushing it through the thickness machine, I have all of this area here, both sides, that's not closing it off. Say, let me think about it this way, like a vacuum head, the head on a vacuum cleaner. If you've got it in total contact with the floor, it's going to have good suction. It's going to pull everything up. But if you've got the head of the vacuum cleaner hanging off the edge, so you've got a big void here and it's only on the floor there, well, I have the same thing happen on the CNC. It's not really going to collect much if a part of the brushed area or the collection zone for the dust extraction is open to a lot of air. There's no real way around that unless you have 2 or 3 pieces to make up the width of the same thickness going through, and that will kind of close it off. That would work for you. Okay, you like the look, Russell. Okay, gee, make a great finish. Double entondos above, brushed across, sensitive. I don't know. No idea. I kind of see what you're saying there. All right, so Mungra, the height winder, and let me come back up to how sensitive is it? You did move it when you brushed across it. Oh, yeah, because I didn't have, that's just the top. It'll spin on its own if you don't have, I'll show you. Because I think that's an important thing, Jeremy. Here we go, I'll show you. So see here, it spins on its own, mate. That's just a guide. When I'll unlock it, there it is. And now when I put this in, it locks in. And then now I can move it. Before it wasn't moving. So that's the slop I'm getting, that's the sprocket onto the chain slop, which isn't much at all. So what you do is, as you're coming up, you bring it till it gets to a point and then stop. So one of these indicators. Now, if I wanted to lower it down by one of these, which I think is 0.05 of a millimeter, because there's 40 of these guys around the one circle, and for every rotation, it's a 2 millimeter lift. So I think it is 0.05 of a millimeter for every graduation. Now, if I want to drop it down 0.05 of a millimeter, I would remember where I'm at. I'd take it down a little bit past, then I'd bring it back up until I got to that same point again. The one indicator away from it, take that out, lock it, and see, this still spins. Because all that is just, that's a dial. It's not the sprocket that I'm moving. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Well, I love it. I love it. I love it. Come back over to the other one. And come back to there. All right. Not this time. When Dave was saying how flush it was, it moves the winder. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, still half asleep. Only asking is 5 entries per day of the 2,000. You want it bad, don't you? Well, if Rafflecopter, all I do is say, click, pick a winner, and off it goes. You remember on Hey Hey It's Saturday, in the background you hear search, 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 search. And bang, it throws up an email for me and a name. And if it's an Australian or a New Zealand entry, you've won. And also someone said to me, well, how do you know? Because he might have a pseudonym or something like that. Well, then what I do is I would contact that person, like I'd make the announcement, but I would contact the person with this one because it's a high volume, large price. I contact the person and find out their address to ship it to. And, if it's not an Australian or New Zealand address, I hit the search, the pick a winner again. So that's how it works, if people are curious. Pluck a duck, yes. Hey, now you're showing your age. I loved Hey Hey It's Saturday, and it's a shame they brought it back because I think it was a bit sad. Do you remember there was a huge, big kind of petition for Channel 9 to bring it back? This is Australia talk. Sorry, guys. If I win it, no need to ship it. Okay, Glenn, not a problem. Now, what I was going to do next, that's a nice round corner. You like that? I think it's lovely. What a jig. What a jig. Idiot Features here can use it. Anyone can use it. So what I'm going to do now, instead of the round, I'm going to make it a 45. Now, the easiest way for me to do that is back over here on this guy. So that's what I'm going to do next. Now, because I don't have much control and it's only short, I can't use the standard miter gauge on it because I haven't put a block of wood on the back to be able to get in close. And I'll explain that a little bit more when I get over there. So I'm going to use my Incra that I have a sacrificial fence on. These things I absolutely love. So I set this with my miter set, I get it perfect. The reason I use the miter set is because I have a piece of timber on a Craig track in front of the fence. So I may not be terribly accurate ordinarily by using Incra's beautifully accurate scale. See, I'm kind of destroying it a little bit. That's why I use the miter set. I drop this in the miter set, and you can use this with miter set because I have this thickness here, which means it will work on 2 of these nylon adjusters, I guess you could call these things. Adjust the miter gauge in the miter slot of a table saw or on my sanding machines or my bandsaw. If you don't have this on, don't have a sacrificial fence, the block on the miter set may not be long enough to contact with 2 of these points. So hence I've got this, and I think it's actually these 2 points. So yeah, it's that one and this one, and they fit perfectly, absolutely perfectly. So if you want dead accurate 5-sided or 19-sided, whatever you want, say no more. Check the description box. It's magic. Okay, now I'm going to slide this along. That's one of the other good things about this, is I can undo. I'll just crack it open. I'm trying to do it so you guys can watch. So I can slide this now anywhere I want on my T-bolts. I want to do it a little bit more and a bit more, because that's all that's in there, 5/16 T-bolts. Or they might be quarters. So I can bring this back. I'm going to take it over to here because that's where I'm at. Okay, I'll switch the cameras so you can watch. Okay, give me a second. Done. Cool. You like that? Fixed. All right. Now, I'm going to come back, switch the cameras, I said, didn't I? Camera 3. Whoop, I better go and get it, hadn't I? What an idiot. Give me a second. As I said, I wasn't setting up cameras all over the place this morning because it's normally, this is just a live chat. But it's kind of developing into a midweek show. I don't know what to do. Raise this up. And about there, I think. All right, back to here. And we can see what's happening. A little more. About there. All right, so I'm going to bring this when I get my spanner. All right, bring this back a little to about there and in, and then I can tighten this up. Take this out, now I can just tighten the last, like so, and that'll let me do 45 degrees. Change the blast gates down the back. $25 to 10. Another quick drink. Nylon guide bushes, they're brilliant. They work very well. I'm going to use the earmuffs on this because it's Stephen, stand off at 45 to the end of the fence and you can get in closer. I could do, but I don't think I'm going to need to. So I'm going to just bring that back. I'm going to go like that without taking my fingers off. All right, turn on the dust extractor. That's working there. And this, you can see the machine oscillating. It's a 240 grit paper, the belt. I'm just waiting till it gets to the corner there. I'm going to have a quick look. Bit of an angle. It's a bit of an angle, but it's not too bad. I've gone a little bit too far there. I'm going to hit that up with a little bit of, I did go too far. Well, let me come back over to the other camera. Okay. A decent sander is on the list. Need a spindle sander first. Have to make do with my multi-tool sander for the moment. Okay. What I'll do, you can have a look at that. And when I went too far. So if I was doing this as a really nice box for myself, I'd be doing it a bit and then coming back and coming back. And I'd possibly make a 45-degree jig and lock it onto the sander so that I've got a lot more control rather than holding onto the other thing as well. The Meisterens, I don't know what that means. So I'm going to hit this with a bit of Liberon finishing oil and let's see how it goes. Rather than just water, because this is really nice stuff. I'll see if I've got a rag here. That one's no good. I'll get another one. All right, pluck a duck, eh? That's a long time ago. That is a long time ago. You need to win the router lift in 2 days' time. That's what's on my list. Okay. Now, even though I get this stuff cheap at Aldi, this microfiber cloth, if you see it and you're walking through a store and you see a packet of this stuff for cheap, just buy it. Buy a couple. Because then you've got them. Anytime you need them, they're there. We haven't dropped one frame today. How good is that? So I always make this a little kind of they call it a polishing mop when you do this. Let's have a look. I throw these out after I've used them. The reason being this stuff's exothermic. See down there? Self-combusting. If you leave a pile of rags who've been using this with linseed oil as well, whatever, leave them on your bench or in your workshop overnight, you may not have a workshop to come back to in the morning. Great image today. Thanks, Derek. Let's have a look. You ready? You can watch. All right. If it had different colours of timber, it may have been more dramatic, but that'll dry off to be quite nice. And that's a really unique corner. That's nice. I like that. And it's still strong. It ain't going anywhere. Some people had asked about the finger joints. And I was talking to Col about it. And I don't know why you do the finger joints when you've got the mechanical strength of the Dovetail. With the finger joints, all you're relying on is glue to stop it separating. With the... you preferred the rounded corner, Silver. Well, why not? As I say, I was just going through it so you could see different things. I did the rounded corners on my pencil boxes, so the studio pencil cases that I made. Everyone preferred the rounded. Okay. Well, look, I'm just trying to show you different options. It's all right. It's offended now. You've upset my joint. I think that'll be nice. Very nice. If you wanted to do a box that's kind of almost octagonal, you could use real thick timber and then put a large 45-degree across the corner. That could work. I'm just thinking of other things you could do as well. Then you could possibly even throw it on a mitre spline jig and put splines in there as well with contrasting colours through the centre of the dovetails. Wouldn't that be sexy? There are so many things you can do. I think very, very nice. Now, I was talking about something I totally forgotten. Let me have a look down. Finger joints are a little quicker to use on the jig as you only use one cutter. Yeah, but, and have to go at a pencil box. Get my plans, Jeremy, and build yourself a pencil box. They're really, really nice. I haven't got one. I gave them all away. Yeah, king of your kingdom. You do it whatever way you want. Yeah, it's just me. Anyone. Man's home is his castle. I watched Robin Hood the other night with Russell Crowe in it, and that was one of the things. Man's home is his castle. I think. Might have been. There was a couple of movies on, but anyway, we'll just forget that. It might have been The Darkest Hour, because, don't know. All right, let me have a look down here. Can't see links or thumb icon. Well, all right. If they're I can't believe that they're not there. So if you go down into the description box below, go in the description box below and have a look down there. If you're watching on a TV or on a mobile phone, you might have to, you know, shrink the screen down so you can get down to the bottom. What else have we got? What else have we got? So as I say, exothermic. Be very, very, very cautious with this, and also, if I've got some here, just to give you a quick look, so that you don't go down that path. It's going to be at the back, of course, somewhere there. There it is, I think. Now this is raw linseed oil. You can get raw and boiled, different types. You've lost audio. I don't think so. It's still working fine. Russell, it's coming through fine here, so I'm sure that it's coming through fine for everyone else. If anyone else has lost audio, let me know. Okay, so this is raw. There are other types, as I say, boiled. Treat them with the same respect that you'd give this stuff, which is, you know, it's exothermic, self-combusting. You've heard of people catching fire at service stations, like when they're filling up their petrol or gas, you guys have called it in the States. You found the audio. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? I've done a whole lot of demonstration and chat, so I need you guys to let me know what's happening in your situation at the moment. Are you still locked down where you're living? Are you able to get out at all? What are you doing to relieve boredom? Close live chat and icons are visible. Yeah, you don't need the live chat because it's coming up on the screen. Oh, unless, of course, you want to enter it. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Cool. So let me know what's happening. I'm reading back up through the top here. I bought a heap of those pencils as well, the sets from Aldi. And I use them not so much. Indiana is 50% open. Can you reverse the order of cutting of the jig? Well, I could if I had some timber prepared for it, but I don't have any timber prepared. And it's not something that I want to do with the exotic timbers that I've got here. So I will get some cheap timber and I'll have a go with it with cheap timber. The text is too small for your old eyes. Okay. Been working on airplane projects and various workshop projects. Looking to level 1 possibly in a few weeks' time. Derek, painting the workshop wall so I can put the CNC back in place now the dust collection's done. Is the dust collection working well for you, Derek? I'm curious. Very curious about things like that. Has anyone else had thoughts about the router table and the downdraft pulling through the router? As I say, Gary was concerned because his router was going, so he got his compressed air gun, you know, the one of those little nozzles you use to clean things, blew all the rubbish out of the router and it worked fine again. So I don't know. Waiting till you put the CNC back first before you know if it's going to work any good. Fred, you're still working on your joiner plane. How's it looking? Is it looking nice? Have you, where are you up to with it, Fred? Have you got the sides laminated on yet? Or I'm curious. I love to hear about these things. Joseph, what kind of airplane projects are you working on? Do you have model planes? Mongrel, surprised at how many people around me have model planes. Interesting to see their workshops when I walk the dog. We have a flying field close. Hey, that's pretty cool. John, Dave, are you going to be doing work on the easel? I will, yeah. I'm going to. I'll probably wait till the weekend. I might actually make that part of the subject of the weekend show, because I need to inject. I'm going to use West Systems with a black pigment in it, and I need to inject that into the crack, and we'll see how that goes. I don't want to kind of rush it towards, you know, when we only got 15 minutes left of this particular show. I'd like to have a whole show that I can get the feel of it and not stuff it up, because it's Vicky's and I don't want to ruin it. Okay, have friends coming for dinner tonight. It would be great. They're from Lake Macquarie. That'll be cool. How long since you've had visitors, Wayne? I'm curious. Not yet, but swing for a spindle sander. All woodcut though. Fred, you don't want to rush these things, do you? How long have you been working on it for? Okay, Stephen. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is slowly coming back to normal. We're not locked down and businesses are about 60% open. I'm a little bit worried about how things are going to go when it's all opened up again. I know that last week we were kind of given a lot more freedom, and when I was out, I noticed people weren't really practicing social distancing anymore. It was as though, oh yeah, we're allowed back out again, and all care went out the window. And that's my concern. There's going to be a resurgence. I think people need to just slow down. I had one person tell me that he thought it was all rubbish. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. He said, oh, they've all got control of it now. That's not a problem. I know. So there's people out there that are going to say that, and you know, ordinarily that'd be fine for them to have their own opinion, but not when it has a flow-on effect to the rest of the world. Just gets my goat up. Fred, not yet, but okay. Joseph, yes, I've been flying RC models for about 33 years. Most of my tools are much smaller. Well, that's fine. Horses for courses. Les, MT table has 2 collection points, one on the fence and another from an enclosed box. I'm guessing your router table. Is that what you're saying, Les? John Murray, trouble buying T-slot track. How many different sizes are there, for heaven's sake? Well, you might be having trouble in Australia buying T-slot track because I ordered 40 of them for my benches. So there's 2 on each bench, so I had enough for 20. And I machined them up straight away as soon as I get them here. So I may have purchased an awful lot that Carbotech had in stock. I had to wait for them to come in from overseas. And I think also with my bench, and people are either building my bench or a similar kind of a thing and making good use of those tracks, they're getting snapped up. They just work so well. These things are fantastic. I love them. Johannes, currently in quarantine before travelling offshore. Every time I return back home, I go into quarantine, still ongoing with my Wadkin table saw refurbishment. Well, there's 2 items there. How long do you have, Johannes, how long do you have to go into quarantine when you come back off the rigs? Is it a week, 2 weeks? Do police come round and check on you and things like that? We haven't seen that kind of stuff here, except for when people came back in from overseas. They were putting them in motels for 2 weeks, and they were being basically guarded by security guards and police, what have you. Glenn, playing cards with friends on Friday night, first time in a while. Excellent. That's really cool. Wayne, late March. Okay. So staying in ISO. Stephen, good on you, and why not? You know, it depends on what your lifestyle's like as well. Vicky and I are more than happy just to stay here. I said to the store manager the other day, I said, if you don't need me till the end of June, I'm happy to stay at home, buddy. I really don't want to come down. If you've got staff, use them, because there's young guys there as well, and you know, but why not? I'm okay, you know. So the young guys need the money. Let them use the hours up that I would have been there, and I'll come back in the new financial year. But we'll see. They might need me down there for something else. Mungra, the government gave an inch and most took a mile. Yes. Fred Peterson, it's my joy to do the project as perfect as possible slowly. Why not? Good on you. I won't give you a hard time anymore. Stephen, 75 centimetre Lazy Susan. That's a monster. That's 2.5 feet across. What size bearing have you got underneath it? I can't even say, you know. Ooge. Hi, Dave. That's my concern also. Lack of concern. Don't let your guard down with the virus. Exactly right, Silver. Hare and Forbes have dual-size track. Police are patrolling the quarantine area in Canberra. Thanks, Derek. Johannes, 14 days. Getting checked by authorities. There is no corona on the Faroe Islands. What about in Denmark? So for people that aren't aware, Johannes lives on the Faroe Islands, and that's kind of left of Scotland, not quite towards Iceland, and kind of, it's smack bang in the middle of Iceland, Scotland, and Denmark. So it's in the ocean. It's a little island in the middle of the ocean. But it's not as cold as you'd think it is because it's got a very warm ocean current goes past it. Is that right, Johannes? Have you got a nice warm ocean current there that kind of helps heating? It's great. I love having this chat. This is better than me having to run around my workshop and try and think of things to do. With this miter gauge that came with the sander, it wouldn't be hard for me to cut a piece of 3/4 inch ply and a couple of bolts and some wing nuts on the back. And then I could use that on there quite easily. Just, I'm so much a fan of this because I can slide it along sideways on that T-track. So all that is a bit of T-track. And then I've put T-bolts in to lock this onto it. And then this is my sacrificial edge as well. Anytime that I'm using it on the table saw, or even I could have used it there on the sander. Still people infected in Denmark, Johannes. Ocean current is constant at 8 degrees Celsius. So do you ever get any snow if that constant temperature is always at 8 degrees Celsius? It'd be like a heat sink. It'd be keeping temperatures elevated or down, one or the other, but not below freezing point. Stephen, a 30 centimetre bearing underneath. I was infected as well, but I did only have high temperature. So you've got all the antibodies kicking through you then. So they might come around trying to suck your blood out and inject it into other people. Snow 14 days ago, right. Johannes, what do you do when you're in lockdown? Because you're in springtime there at the moment. What kind of temperatures does it get up to there? This is curious for people that are interested. So I'm guessing you get the domino out and you have a ball with that and make cups of coffee, sit in your workshop and just enjoy yourself. Play with the kids. Matteo, good morning, Dave and all. Not much woodworking for me, painting the inside of the house, but it's good to listen to the chat. Cool. Painting's a subject that a lot of people really don't like painting, but they like the look when it's all cleaned and finished. Do you use paint that's kind of an anti-allergy paint? I think there's some that is designed for asthmatics, so it doesn't affect them. There's all this stuff out there, isn't there? What else have we got here? I told everyone the story about my mobile phone and the dramas I was having with it, and now I have Wi-Fi calling. That's how that person managed to ring me, because in here, it's a steel building, like all the outside is clad with steel. The building to this side has weatherboard on the outside of it, has metallic foil paper all the way around it, so it's a kind of a block as well. So I don't get a mobile service signal in here, but this has what's called Wi-Fi calling, which means it can dial out through my internet connection. Just one of those funny things. I need it. That's all it should. I'm in a valley as well, and so we don't get very good reception anywhere. Johannes, now it is between 3 and 10 degrees. Wife at work and me taking care of the 2 youngest. Excellent. Painting is okay. It's very soothing. The painting part is good. The preparation part is rubbish. I hate the preparation. All the sanding and filling and what have you. But I guess when you've finished, the wall looks like a Dalmatian. What's that? I don't know. The wall looks like a Dalmatian. You know, there's spots and things all over it. And then when you put your undercoat over it, primer sealer, it looks really nice. And then when you put your top coat on, it's like mowing the lawn for me. looking out at the grass and it's all over the place and the grass is growing out over the drive. You get the edger, do all the edges and then jump on the mower or the push mower, whichever one. And there you go. Instant. It looks good and it smells great. It's lovely. I sit down, have a beer or a cup of coffee after it. I'll sit there for about an hour just looking at it. It's weird, isn't it? Let me have a bit more of a read. Russell, making clam racks that take up less wall space, one on top of the other instead of side by side. Clamp racks, I'm guessing. Right. Matteo, got the same embargo Wi-Fi calling. Yeah, you got to have it. You know, some places you just have it. Loads of Blue Mountains has poor mobile reception. Oh yeah. Derek, on the drum sander, is there an adapter you can buy to convert to 4-inch? On the drum sander. Mine already has an adapter on it. It's 2-inch up to 4-inch. When I got mine, I was thinking about cutting the hole out at the top and putting a 4-inch port on it totally. But I haven't really needed to. The 4-inch connection on the top seems to pull all right through the 2-inch. It reduces down to 2 inches. Seems to work okay. I may look at doing something like that further down the track. Maybe make a kind of an adapter that sits over the top, like cut a hole out, and then make something that goes over the top, possibly on the CNC to shape it. That could be interesting. And then have a 4-inch port directly on the top. Uja Gapivi, is that it? People in Bow Street are always standing outside to make calls. I used to do that. Stephen, paint in dining room is red, took 4 coats and still patchy. Okay, mine doesn't have the 4-inch adapter. Give me a second, Derek. I'll just roll it over for you so you can have a quick look. I'll move this out of the way. How good is it having things on wheels? Okay, that's how mine came, Derek. I don't know if you can see that. If I do this, you'll be able to see it. Give me a sec. Camera 3. That's it. So 2 or 2.5 inch, I think it's a 2-inch, up to a 4-inch. And I connect on there. I was thinking about cutting this section out and possibly maybe even getting a sewer fitting that I could put in from the underside or over the top and fill it with expanding foam or I don't know, silicone or resin. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at the moment, it works fine as it is. Come back to the main camera again. All right. Name is Damo. Okay, Damo. Darren, UK, why doesn't the finishing oil make the finished pieces combust? Still locked down in Wales, Ireland and Scotland, but end of stage 2, out of lockdown, too late to lock down, now too early to ease restrictions. Because it's not allowing oxygen to get all around it. That's my story. See that bit of rag? It's like kindling. Let me put it that way. You can't light a 10-inch diameter log with a match. It's not going to work. But you can light small sticks. You know, they'll light. Do you believe me? That's how I would see it. Derek, thanks. That is the missing piece off mine. Okay. Stephen, how do you avoid snipe on your drum sander? I don't get snipe on the drum sander at all because I'm not pushing it through like a thickness machine. I push it in and I only lower it down. I'll run a piece through 3 times at the one height. Then I'll come down maybe a 16th of a rotation of the crank and go through another 3 times. So I don't get snipe on it. Plenty. Dave, I find it surprising that Blue Mountains has poor mobile coverage. Must have been impossible in the bushfires. Well, when we were on, before digital, when we had the 018 numbers, and it was analog phones, I had a brick, you know, these brick phones. I used to carry it around with me on building sites. It would get me absolutely anywhere. I could be down at the bottom of the valley. I would get the signal. But with digital, it's more kind of a straight line of sight thing. If I can't see a tower, no matter how far away, it may be 6-7 miles away, if there's no line of sight, you're really going to struggle getting a digital signal. You're not a twit, Stephen. So we are down from the street, even up at the street. Depends on who the carriers are. You've got okay, Johannes has just answered the question for you. Where was I? Up on the street with Optus. Even on the street, Optus didn't work. I'd have to go right the way up to the top of the ridge for Optus to work. And there was a guy here from Telstra once, and he said to me, Dave, with Optus, what they've got is only a few towers, and it's one signal going out, and that's it. But with Telstra, they've got towers absolutely everywhere, and they're just broadcasting all over the joint. So if one tower is missing you, the other one will grab you, and it's so much better. So hence I went over to Telstra for the mobile phone, and I get service on a few spots around the property where I never got any with Optus. And then that was the drama I had getting it back onto Wi-Fi calling, and I finally got that sorted, and I'm going to do the same for Vicky. Okay, Chris, with bushfires in Blue Mountains, Telstra had a booster in car park at Wimberley Shopping Centre. Dramatic improvement. We missed it when it was taken away. There are things called a Go repeater, and I'm also looking at getting one of those put on the property here. It's a repeating station. They've got a Yagi aerial that they aim at one of the towers, and then it boosts. So if you've got 1 bar of service, it'll take it up to 3. And even if it looks like you don't have any service, what they do is they come to your property first. They charge you to come here to do a test. If it'll work, the guy at the same time will install it, and then there's the fee for doing the test is gone, and they'll just charge you for the aerial installation and the unit itself. Set it all up, and away you go. So pretty cool. Let me see. Johannes, the oil combusts because the chemical process has started in the rag. This will increase the temperature and then end up going on fire. So similar to what I'd said, oil and rags generate their own heat plus air in amongst it. Laying a rag out flat allows it to dry faster. They do suggest you take it outside and open it up and lay it down on the ground outside, possibly on the lawn. And away you go. Digital's line of sight. You loved your CDMA phone. They could go all over the state. Guys, I think that's going to have to do us for today. I hope you enjoyed it. This has dried off a little bit more, so it's becoming a little bit more defined. But the things you can do with, you could nail a piece of timber together with a bit of glue, or, you know, you can go fancy and just get very artistic with the joints. This is great. And again, thank you so much, Cole, for dropping one of these sets off to me. And it was a joy to have you on the show so you could show everyone how it worked. And so, as I say, I managed to do it. You guys could do it as well. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. And I shall run the intro and text as well. And I'll see you for the real show on next Sunday. Bye.